Alright, hello Professor. So I'll just get right into showing the elements from the first one. This is going to be a little bit different than my last ones because I actually have a level now. So you see we're still moving. Enemies up, spawn and shoot at us. They move towards us. And weapons drop, all the good stuff. We're firing. And if you notice, I have a health display. Oh, and now will be the perfect time to see the lives display update. So we've got all the old stuff still going on. We got some new stuff going on. Let's get into the new stuff. I don't know if I can show a ragdoll really quick. There you go. Okay. So, all the old stuff is there. The new stuff, well, let's take a look at it really quick. Um, so for the health displays and the lives display too. We'll get right into it. Health display. I don't know what I had last time I showed it, but this is what basically registers the player's health. It's in here. Same with the ammo and the lives. Um, the lives just gets it right from the game manager. But basically, when at the beginning of the game, when the player is made, we spawn a new player, um, and we register all their stuff. Now, whenever the player takes damage, let me just go into whenever the player takes damage, these functions are also called in a sort of roundabout way. Um, we'll go look at that really quick. On our humanoid pawn script, we have something called update health display, and it just calls the function on UI manager, but it puts this game object in it. Or this, not game object, but this script, because it needs a pawn script. This component. So, this is just a way to get this calling on the event and passing it at the same time. Because if I didn't have this and I just called this function on the event, it wouldn't work because it wouldn't pass anything in. So, that's how those work. And I know it says if lives are under 0, we have a game over, and I'll show that. If lives are less than or equal to 0, um, this game over function is called, and all it does is it loads the game over scene. So if I go in here and I hit play and we start on the first level, and I'm a really bad player, and I just sit here and I'm like, cool, how do these controls work? Okay, well, I guess I have to move a little, but we'll see that I die. And one more time. Okay, now one more time. Game over. Um, that lives displaying as 0 first is because of where I take the lives away. I take the life away when you respawn. So I wanted to have it like you're spending a life to respawn. I didn't want you to have one, die, have it taken away in death right when you die, and then it be a game over. I wanted you to respawn, have 0 lives, and then when you die again, it's game over. And that's what happens. So there's that. We'll go to the weapon UI. You probably saw it, but I don't have a display to say what weapon you have. It just says how much ammo you have. If I go and pick up this gun, you see that it updates. And it does that by comparing the tag to the player just in case an NPC picks up a weapon. So it doesn't update the ammo when it's in like all of the weapon pickups, but it doesn't get updated unless you're a player. I'll go show that in a minute. Because this is all for my ammo display. So, I'm just gonna show one pickup, or I'll show a few, I guess. But see if entity compare tag player equals true, then we register it. That was my quick, kind of dirty way of solving this. Because I didn't want enemies somehow, even though they spawn with weapons and there's no way to get rid of your weapon, so they'll never pick one up. Just in case they can, it won't update your ammo as their ammo when they pick it up. So, like your ammo display with their data if they somehow manage to pick one up. So now I'm gonna go into my pause thing really quick. Where do I start with this? We're just gonna start with the Boolean really quick. We have a Boolean in our game manager called isPause. It's a static one, so it's everywhere. And all that happens is when we hit escape. You know what? I'm pretty sure that I can get rid of this. It's probably a bad time to do that, but let's do it. So if you hit escape, this is basically what happens. UI manager.is paused. If it is paused, we resume. Otherwise, we pause it. And those are just function calls on the UI manager. We go over there, we see that pause menu.setActive is set to true. So when the pause menu spawns, or when we start the game, basically the pause menu has a small script attached to it called pause menu setter. All it does is it sets this object as the pause menu inside the UI manager, and then it sets itself active to false so you're not staring at it when it starts. And all of my displays have this. They set themselves when they start. They're just these little components that I made really quick to fill out. And they all take use of these setters down here. There's little scripts attached to each menu item that calls these functions when they start and sets themselves as like these variables. That was my way of doing it super quick, and it worked really well. Anyway, I think I was explaining pause and resume. So there's pause. We set the time scale to 0 so everything stops, and then we set isPause to true. Resumes the opposite. We deactivate the pause menu, set the time scale to 1 so time continues, and we set isPause to false so our controls return to normal. I'll show it really quick before we move on to weighted drops. There it is. Oh, apparently my buttons. That's why. Alright, my pause menu is doing the same problem that I experienced yesterday, and since I already started the video, I'm just going to show you it in the test scene before I just pragmatically set the buttons so that they function how I want to in the level. So let's go down to our scenes. We're going to go to the test scene. We're going to start this and resume, quit. They work by once again just calling these UI manager functions that I showed you, the resume one. This one's return to main, and all return to main does is load the first scene in the index 0. So if that's your main menu, it'll return to the main menu. If I have some like little credits, opening stuff, scenes where we say the company name or whatever, it would return there or wherever. But that's how that goes. So, um, we got the weighted drops going on, which I'm gonna go show you in the enemies. Here's our weighted drop table. It works by every time there's a drop, it basically goes through. Where's my drop table? Here we go. I called it the drop manager. Um, so basically we have this class called item drop, and it has two values, a weight and an object. Um, and we fill this list with drops, pretty much by drag and dropping in there. Um, and then we go through and we take we go through with a for loop, and every time we do it, unless it's zero, if it's zero, we just add the regular weight that our item just was. So all of these that you see here, if it drops an ammo pickup, it adds 1,000. Um, so then you're more likely to get another drop. And if it's not our first drop, we add our last drop value to that weight plus drop weight of -1. So basically what happens is it goes through and it adds up all of the weights that you've had. God, why do I keep doing that? All of the weights that you've had dropped. And then it'll go through again after it adds those weights to see what to drop next time it's called. And using, where is it? System.array.binary search. We go through, and since this is, we basically go through here. Um, we make a random range that's the drop array count -1, so we don't go over our index. And with this, it basically takes what we have known as selected index, and it searches through the drop array and by dividing each point in half to do less searches. If it's not exactly on, we get this flipped negative number, which, if I remember correctly, is called a bitwise OR that I wrote down right here. And if we flip that, we get the number that it actually is. And that's only if we don't land exactly on it. That's why it says if it's less than 0, because it gives us a number that's less than 0 if it doesn't land exactly on the number. And then we flip it if it's less than 0, and that's how we get our selected index, what we're dropping. And it does this by adding all the the last weights together. That's what this is. And it'll add that weight, go to that part in the array that this number equals, like, am I between 1,000 and 1,500? If so, I'm in within the health pickup range. If I'm below 1,000, I'm within the ammo pickup range. If I'm above 1,500, I'm in the weapon pickup range, and so on and so forth. Until, we get all the drops that we can. And let me just show you how that works. My pause menu shows here when the game's not started because it disables itself when it starts. But, cool. This is a terrible weapon. Okay. So see, he dropped ammo. This next guy's probably gonna drop ammo too. Okay, I'm sorry, I just can't with that weapon. There we go. Okay, or not. Okay, I may end up getting wiped here. If I could show you though, without dying horribly. Okay, he dropped a weapon. So they ammo pickup. You'll see that what mostly drops is health and ammo pickups. And I'm getting this thing, or maybe that one just spawned there. Uh-oh. So see, they mostly drop ammo pickups and health pickups. Oh, I've done it now. But yeah, the other ones are still set to drop. They just have a much lower drop chance. Even weapons and stuff do. Um, so if you just keep killing more enemies, you'll eventually get everything. And then the drop tables are separate from what's actually. Oh, uh-oh. Okay, so I got my warp core drop. That's basically how you win. You get your warp core back from the spaceship. When that happens, and that was my 10 weighted drop, so we got really lucky there. I mean, I did kill quite a few of them, so maybe I could make that less of a drop rate, but um that slides us. Oh, I thought there was a win condition in here. It doesn't seem like there is. Well, that was my win condition really quick. If I go up here and I go down to the warp core pickup, literally all it does on pickup, besides call the base one, which is like destroy yourself and remove yourself from the a list if you're in one, um, it just calls the win function on the game manager, and all that does is load the win screen. So when you pick up the warp core, you win. Yay! All right, that seems to be it for now. Um, I will get to fixing the same problem we had yesterday, except with the pause menu. I'm probably just gonna program the buttons to use the UI manager.instance instead of uh, you know, clicking it in. Instead of, setting it in here, I'm probably just gonna have to set it in programming or something to make it easy. All right, well that's that. You have a good day, Professor.